Inokashira Park, a sanctuary of peace in bustling Tokyo, was a picture of serenity on a crisp April morning. Families strolled, lovers whispered, and the park janitor swept fallen petals with quiet contentment. Little did he know, this ordinary spring morning would forever shatter the tranquility of Inokashira Park. The serenity was about to be replaced by a silence far more unsettling. The janitor's routine halted abruptly at a nondescript garbage bin. Something felt off. He lifted the lid and found a severed human hand. Panic surged as he discovered more bags, each containing different body parts. The park's tranquility was shattered, replaced by a chilling silence. The janitor's quiet world had turned into a nightmare. The news spread and detectives swarmed the park. The body parts were eerily clean, devoid of blood. This baffling detail pointed to a calculated mind. The bloodless murder defied logic and hinted at a profound darkness. The investigation had begun, delving into a crime that seemed impossible. The park's tranquility was replaced by horror. 27 body parts, meticulously wrapped, were scattered across garbage bins. The absence of blood whispered of chilling control. The scene was a grotesque paradox, a meticulously orchestrated act of violence. In the forensics lab, the puzzle began to unravel. The cuts were clean, almost surgical, pointing to a skilled hand. The body was meticulously drained of blood. This was not the work of an amateur but a calculated act. The dismemberment was a macabre masterpiece of human cruelty. Every element of the crime scene was scrutinized. The plastic bags, punctured with drainage holes, spoke of chilling practicality. The knots were carefully tied nautical knots. The Inokashira Park murder was a symphony of silence, a calculated mind at work. The absence of blood was a psychological puzzle. It hinted at a killer who meticulously drained the victim's body. This silence robbed the investigation of valuable evidence. The bloodless murder challenged investigators to delve into the darkest recesses of the human psyche. S was an enigma, a man of quiet anonymity. The investigation turned to his life, desperate for clues. S's possessions painted a picture of a solitary existence. He was a ghost, his presence meticulously erased. S was an architect, a builder of order from chaos. His meticulous nature was reflected in his work. His buildings celebrated order, contrasting the city's chaos. Investigators felt S's profession held a crucial piece of the puzzle. The last sighting of S was at an izakaya. He disappeared into Tokyo's labyrinthine streets. Investigators retraced his final steps, searching for clues. The city offered only silence, a cold reminder of life's ephemeral nature. The investigation into S's murder had become an exercise in frustration. The lack of blood, the surgical precision of the dismemberment, and the complete absence of a motive had created a wall of silence around the case. A silence that seemed to mock the investigators' efforts to penetrate it. S's life, once a blank canvas, was slowly being filled in with details, but none of them seemed to offer any explanation for his gruesome fate. He was, by all accounts, a quiet and solitary man. His neighbors described him as polite but distant, someone they rarely saw or interacted with. His colleagues at the architectural firm where he worked spoke of his dedication to his work, but admitted that they knew little about his personal life. The investigators had managed to locate a few of S's former classmates and colleagues, but their recollections of him were fragmented and often contradictory. Some remembered him as being quiet and studious, while others described him as being withdrawn and even antisocial. There were whispers of a past relationship, a woman who had broken his heart, but the details were hazy, lost in the mists of time. The more the investigators learned about S, the more convinced they became that the key to solving his murder lay hidden somewhere in the quiet tapestry of his life. But where? What secret, what connection had they missed? The silence surrounding S's life was deafening, a silence that spoke volumes about the depths of the mystery they were trying to unravel. As weeks melted into months and the cherry blossoms of spring gave way to the humid heat of a Tokyo summer, the investigation into the bloodless murder of S found itself adrift in a sea of uncertainty. The lack of concrete evidence, the chilling precision of the crime, and the complete absence of a motive had created a vacuum, a void quickly filled by whispers, rumors, and speculation. The media, hungry for any scrap of information, descended upon the case with a voracious appetite, churning out sensationalized headlines and weaving narratives that were as captivating as they were unsubstantiated. Theories ranged from the plausible to the downright bizarre, each one adding another layer of intrigue to the already perplexing case. The detectives, bombarded by a constant barrage of speculation and misinformation, found themselves struggling to separate fact from fiction. Every tip, every whisper, no matter how outlandish, had to be carefully considered, meticulously investigated, and ultimately, more often than not, discarded. The pressure mounted, the weight of a city's expectations bearing down on them like a physical burden. The bloodless murder of S had become a morbid obsession for some, a source of endless fascination for others. But for the detectives assigned to the case, it was a haunting reminder of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of their city, a darkness that threatened to consume them if they allowed it. One name, whispered in hushed tones, kept resurfacing in connection with the case: Yakuza. The mere mention of Japan's infamous organized crime syndicate sent chills down the spines of even the most hardened detectives. The Yakuza, with their strict codes of conduct, their penchant for brutal retribution, and their ability to operate with impunity in the shadows of society, were a force to be reckoned with, a terrifying possibility that could not be ignored. The investigators, their faces grim, delved into the murky world of the Yakuza, their inquiries leading them down a labyrinthine path of extortion rackets, gambling dens, and illicit nightclubs. They interviewed informants, their faces obscured by shadows, their voices barely above a whisper. They examined surveillance photographs, their eyes scanning the faces of known Yakuza members, searching for any connection, no matter how tenuous, to S or his bloodless demise. The possibility of Yakuza involvement, while tantalizing, was also incredibly dangerous. The Yakuza, notoriously secretive and fiercely protective of their own, were not known for their cooperation with law enforcement. To pursue this line of inquiry was to walk a tightrope, to risk provoking the wrath of an organization that could make people disappear as easily as they could make evidence vanish. The detectives, torn between their duty to pursue every lead and the very real danger that this particular path presented, found themselves at a crossroads. The Yakuza Shadow loomed large over the investigation, a chilling reminder of the stakes involved, the price that might be extracted for daring to delve too deeply into their world. As the traditional avenues of investigation seemed to yield more dead ends than breakthroughs, a new theory began to take hold, a theory whispered in hushed tones, a theory that sent chills down the spines of even the most seasoned detectives: ritualistic killing. The meticulous nature of the dismemberment, the complete draining of blood, the absence of any obvious motive, all these elements pointed towards a crime that was not simply an act of violence but a carefully orchestrated ritual, a symbolic act with its roots in the darkest corners of Japanese folklore. Experts in Japanese folklore and ancient rituals were brought in to consult on the case, their eyes poring over the details of the crime scene, their minds searching for any connection, any hint of symbolism that could unlock the secrets of S's gruesome demise. The arrangement of the body parts, the specific locations where they were found, the types of knots used to tie the plastic bags, every detail was scrutinized for its potential significance. The theory of a ritualistic killing, while unsettling, offered a glimmer of hope, a new avenue to explore in a case that had seemed increasingly unsolvable. If the killer had indeed been motivated by some ancient belief system, some arcane ritual, then perhaps the key to identifying them lay not in the world of forensic evidence, but in the realm of folklore, mythology, and the shadowy world of the occult. Despite the tireless efforts of the detectives, the countless hours spent chasing down leads, the bloodless murder of S remained an enigma, a chilling mystery that defied explanation. The weight of their failure pressed down on them, a constant reminder of the limitations of their abilities, the depths of the darkness they faced. The media frenzy had died down, replaced by a resigned acceptance that this was a case destined to remain unsolved. The public, once captivated by the gruesome details and the endless speculation, had moved on, their attention drawn to the next sensational headline, the next tragedy to grip the city. But for the detectives who had worked the case, the memory of S, the man known only by an initial, lingered, a ghost in the machine of their minds. They carried the weight of his unsolved murder with them, a heavy burden that colored their perceptions, that reminded them that even in the bustling metropolis of Tokyo, there were shadows, secrets, and monsters that lurked just beyond the reach of justice. The bloodless murder of Inokashira Park had become a cold case, a file gathering dust on a shelf, a chilling reminder of the darkness that could lurk beneath the surface of even the most seemingly ordered society. But for some, the questions remained, whispering in the wind, a haunting echo of a crime that defied explanation, a life brutally extinguished, and a silence that spoke volumes about the depths of human cruelty. The bloodless nature of S's murder was more than just a perplexing detail. It was an affront to the very principles of forensic science. It challenged the investigators' understanding of violence, of the human body, of the very nature of death itself. How could a body be so completely drained of blood, leaving behind no trace, no whisper of the crimson fluid that is synonymous with life itself? The forensic team, their expertise pushed to its limits, grappled with this unsettling anomaly, their investigations leading them down a rabbit hole of medical journals, obscure forensic textbooks, and consultations with the most renowned hematologists in the country. The answers, when they came, were as unsettling as they were inconclusive. The human body, they explained, is a marvel of biological engineering. Its intricate network of veins, arteries, and capillaries carrying the lifeblood to every cell. To completely drain a body of blood, to achieve the level of bloodlessness observed in S's case, would require a profound understanding of human anatomy, specialized equipment, and a chilling amount of time and precision. The bloodless enigma of Inokashira Park was a macabre puzzle, each piece a testament to the killer's chilling knowledge, their meticulous planning, and their absolute control over the situation. It was a puzzle that demanded to be solved, yet the closer the investigators came to understanding the how, the further they seemed from uncovering the why. One word, whispered in hushed tones amongst the forensic team, began to take hold, a word that carried with it the weight of horror and disbelief. Exsanguination. The complete draining of blood from a body, a procedure typically confined to the sterile environments of operating rooms and medical textbooks, had found its way into the macabre reality of the Inokashira Park murder. The possibility of post-mortem exsanguination, while gruesome, offered a plausible explanation for the bloodless state of S's remains. The killer, possessing the necessary medical knowledge and equipment, could have systematically drained S's body of blood after death, meticulously removing every trace of the crimson fluid before dismembering and disposing of the body. The logistics of such an act, however, were daunting. It would require a secluded location, a place where the killer could work undisturbed for an extended period. It would necessitate specialized equipment, cannulae, drainage bags, and perhaps even an embalming machine, items not easily obtainable or disposable. The whispers of exsanguination, while offering a potential solution to the bloodless enigma, only deepened the mystery surrounding S's murder. Who possessed the knowledge, the resources, and the sheer audacity to carry out such a macabre procedure? The more the investigators considered the possibility of post-mortem exsanguination, the more they realized the chilling complexity of the act. It was not a hasty or haphazard procedure, but a macabre choreography, each movement planned, each step requiring a chilling level of precision and control. The draining of a body's blood was not a simple matter of making a few incisions. It required a thorough understanding of the circulatory system, the ability to locate and access major arteries and veins, and the patience to allow gravity and time to do their work. The killer, the investigators realized, had not been rushed. They had taken their time, working methodically, their movements almost surgical in their precision. The absence of blood spatter, the lack of any signs of struggle on S's remains, all pointed towards a controlled environment, a scene meticulously orchestrated to ensure the complete removal of any trace of blood. The bloodless murder of S was not just a crime, it was a performance, a macabre ballet of death, choreographed by a mind both brilliant and terrifyingly disturbed. Each cut, each incision, each carefully placed drainage hole was a testament to the killer's chilling expertise, their absolute mastery over both life and death. As the investigators delved deeper into the chilling logistics of exsanguination, they were forced to confront the most unsettling theory of all, that S may have been alive during the blood-draining process. The thought sent shivers down their spines, a chilling reminder of the depths of human depravity. To imagine S, conscious and aware, his lifeblood slowly draining away, his body growing cold, his vision fading as the world around him slipped into darkness, it was a horror almost too profound to comprehend. The medical examiner, his face pale, explained that it was possible to keep a person alive, albeit unconscious, during exsanguination. A cocktail of drugs, carefully administered, could sedate the victim, dulling the pain, rendering them immobile while their lifeblood was systematically drained away. The possibility, while speculative, cast a long dark shadow over the investigation. It transformed the bloodless murder of S from an act of post-mortem desecration into something far more sinister, far more depraved, a calculated act of torture, a slow and agonizing death designed to maximize both physical and psychological torment. It was a thought that clung to the investigators' minds like a curse, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lay at the heart of the human soul. The investigation into the bloodless murder of S had become a labyrinth with no exit, a frustrating maze of dead ends and false promises. Every lead, every witness, every whispered theory seemed to dissolve into thin air, leaving the investigators empty-handed, and no closer to unmasking the perpetrator of this meticulously orchestrated horror. The lack of blood, while initially a perplexing challenge, had transformed into an insurmountable obstacle. It robbed the investigators of crucial forensic evidence, leaving them to grapple with shadows and whispers, their every step hampered by the killer's chilling foresight. The pressure mounted with each passing day. The media, once relentless in its pursuit of the story, gradually turned its attention elsewhere, the initial frenzy replaced by a resigned acceptance that the bloodless murder of Inokashira Park was destined to join the ranks of unsolved mysteries that haunted the city's underbelly. For the detectives, however, the case had burrowed deep under their skin, a constant itch they couldn't scratch. They carried the weight of S's unsolved murder, the image of his meticulously dismembered body, the chilling precision of the crime scene seared into their memories. They had stared into the abyss of human cruelty, and the abyss had stared back, leaving an indelible mark on their souls. As the years marched on, the bloodless murder of Inokashira Park faded from public memory, the initial shock and horror replaced by a collective amnesia. The city, ever vibrant and ever-changing, continued its relentless pace, its inhabitants preoccupied with the daily rhythms of life, the specter of S's unsolved murder a distant echo. For the investigators, however, the case remained an open wound, a constant reminder of their failure to bring the perpetrator to justice. They had dedicated countless hours, sacrificed sleep, and wrestled with their own demons in their pursuit of the truth, only to be defeated by the cruel passage of time. On April 23, 2009, 15 years to the day after the gruesome discovery in Inokashira Park, the statute of limitations on S's murder expired. The legal clock had run out, granting the killer, whoever they were, wherever they may be, the bitter taste of freedom. There would be no trial, no opportunity for S's loved ones to confront the person responsible for their unimaginable loss. The justice system, bound by the constraints of time, had reached its limit, leaving behind a bitter residue of unanswered questions and a profound sense of injustice. In the years following the expiration of the statute of limitations, Inokashira Park remained a place of tranquil beauty, its serene landscape seemingly untouched by the horror that had unfolded there years ago. The cherry blossoms continued to bloom each spring, their delicate petals falling like confetti on unsuspecting visitors. Beneath the surface, however, a current of unease lingered, a silent scream echoing through the park's history. The bloodless murder of S had seeped into the park's very essence, a chilling reminder that even in the heart of a bustling metropolis, darkness could lurk in the shadows, waiting for the opportune moment to rear its head. The park's tranquility, once a source of solace and escape, now held a hint of fragility, a sense that the peace could be shattered at any moment. The laughter of children playing seemed a touch too loud. The rustling of leaves in the breeze carried a whisper of unease, and the shadows cast by the setting sun seemed to stretch a little longer, a little darker than before. Inokashira Park, once a symbol of urban harmony, now bore the invisible scars of a crime that defied explanation, its silent scream a testament to the enduring power of the unknown. The bloodless murder of S remains an enigma, a chilling tale whispered in hushed tones, a case study in the limitations of human understanding. The killer, their identity shrouded in mystery, their motives forever unknown, vanished into the labyrinthine streets of Tokyo, leaving behind a legacy of unanswered questions and a city forever marked by their chilling act. Was S the victim of a random act of violence? A gruesome anomaly in a city that prided itself on order and safety? Or was his murder a carefully calculated act, orchestrated by a mind driven by motives too dark, too complex for us to comprehend? The bloodless murder of Inokashira Park serves as a haunting reminder that even in the most seemingly civilized societies, darkness lurks beneath the surface, a constant undercurrent threatening to shatter the illusion of order and peace. It is a testament to the enduring power of the unknown, the mysteries that continue to baffle and haunt us, long after the headlines have faded and the crowds have dispersed. And so, the story of S, the man known only by an initial, lives on, not in the annals of solved cases, but in the realm of shadows and whispers, a chilling reminder of the fragility of life, the elusive nature of truth, and the enduring power of the human capacity for both good and evil. Thank you for watching. Please kindly like, share and subscribe to our channel Crime Files Unlocked.